Hello students, this is a review for the interim assessment that's going on the first week of January, interim assessment number 2. This was a requested video about looking at the average rate of a given graph. So here's a graph that's given, and there are 3 questions about average rate of 2 different points in the graph. So the first one says, what is the average rate from 0 seconds to 40 seconds? In order to find average rate, the first thing you're going to do is identify the 2 ordered pairs that the graph is talking about. So for example, this one says 0 seconds. At 0 seconds, we're at 0, 0. At 40 seconds, we're at 40, 80. So we have our 2 ordered pairs. We're going to write down those ordered pairs. So we have 0, 0 and 40, 80. In general, finding the average rate is the same exact process as finding the slope. So if you recall the slope formula, that should just be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. If you didn't remember that formula, that's a specialized formula that you've seen before, and it's to find the slope of a line. Alright, here's the slope formula in a little bit neater manner. Now, in order to fill this in, we need to identify y2, y1, x2, and x1. So our first ordered pair is going to be, well, first pair, so this is x1, and this one is y1. So we have the x1 value is 0, the y1 value is 0. The second x value is here. It's given to us as x2, which is 40, and then y2, which is 80. The only reason I made those selections was because this is the second x value, and this is the second y value. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute in the values that I have. y2 minus y1, that's going to be 80 minus the y1 value, which is 0, divided by the x2 value, which is 40, minus the x1 value, which is 0. 80 minus 0 divided by 40 minus 0. Doesn't seem like too difficult a calculation, but I'll see it through to the bitter end here. Another 80 minus 0 is just 80. 40 minus 0 is just 40. So our answer should be 80 divided by 40, which is equal to 2. So our answer isn't just 2, it's looking for an average rate from 0 seconds to 40 seconds. So it's 2, whatever these are, whatever these measurements are, per these measurements. So our correct and complete answer is going to be 2 meters per second. So from this point to this point, we're increasing at a rate of 2 meters per second. It's a positive rate, so that means we're increasing. And that makes sense because from here to here, every second we're going up by 2 meters. Every 10 seconds we're going up by 20 meters. So that was pretty straightforward because it's a straight line. The second question asks, what is the average rate from 30 seconds to 70 seconds? Well, 30 seconds is here, and 70 seconds is here. The first thing you should see right away is from this point to this point you're going downwards. So our average rate is no longer going to be increasing, it's no longer going to be positive, it's actually going to be negative. So the average rate from here to here, I'm going to have to find the 2 ordered pairs and then try to use the same exact formula. My first ordered pair is 30, 60. So I'm going to write that in here. We got 30, 60. And our second ordered pair is at 70. So 70, 40. Next ordered pair is 70, I think I said it was 40. Yes, 40. Okay. Our ordered pairs are there, and all we need to do is use our formula, our slope formula to figure this out. So I'm going to bring the slope formula down here. y2 minus y1, I can write in which one is x1 and y1. So this one is x1. This one is y1. This one, it's our second point, so we'll say this is x2. I'm not saying x squared, it's like just the second x value. And then y2. Again, not saying y squared, it's just the second y value. I'm going to plug them into the formula, y2 minus y1, which means 40 minus y1, which is, I believe, 60. Okay. And then the bottom number, the denominator, is going to be x2, which is 70, minus x1, which is 30. So I got 40 minus 60 on the top, 70 minus 30 on the bottom. The top number is going to turn out to be 40 minus 60, which is negative 20. And the bottom number is going to be 70 minus 30, which is 50. Okay, so now I have a fraction, negative 20 divided by 50. And all I have to do, I'm going to put a little bar here so you can see it's a fraction. All I have to do is actually do that division. So negative 20 divided by 50. I know that if there's zeros at the end of both, it becomes negative 2 over 5. The answer, when I put it in my calculator, is negative 0.4. But again, we're going to turn that into units that we can use. It's an average rate of whatever this unit is divided by whatever this unit is. Negative 0.4 meters, meters per second. Just like the previous question, it asked for an average rate. So I give the number, and it's also in meters per second. You can tell that this one is negative because, well, it's a negative. And you can also tell it's a negative because between this point and this point, we went downwards. And between the other 2 points, between the 0 and the 40, we went upwards. Make sense? Last but not least, what is the average rate from 40 seconds to 80 seconds? Try to use a different color here. From 40 seconds, I know I've drawn all over this, but 40 seconds is here. And 80 seconds is here. Before you do this problem, think about it. From 40 seconds to 80 seconds, what's the average rate of change? Did we change? Doesn't look like it. Let's see if the math bears that out. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, the first thing that we need is ordered pairs. So the first ordered pair is 40, 80. We've used this ordered pair before. 40, 80. And the second ordered pair, our x2, y2, is going to be 80, 80. 80, 80. And we need some parentheses around that. Okay, let's use the formula. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. The top of the formula is going to be y2, which is 80, minus y1, which is 80. Interesting, 80 minus 80. The bottom number is going to be 80, which is x2, minus 40, which is x1. Okay, so we have our fraction set up. All we need is a little bar to indicate that it's a fraction. Right? So 80 minus 80 is the numerator. Well, 80 minus 80 is 0. And 80 minus 40 is going to be 40. So we have 0 divided by 40. Well, you know that we've talked about zeros before, and 0 divided by any number, doesn't matter what it is just going to be 0. And remember, we're using our units, so 0 meters per second. So here's the main idea. What we've done today is we've tried to figure out the average rate of a bunch of different points. The main takeaway from this is you should remember the slope formula. This, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, is the slope formula, and slope and average rate mean the same thing. So that's a conclusion that we could jot down here. Average rate is the same as slope. So you can use the slope formula, this formula, in order to figure out the average rate between any 2 points. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope you have good luck on the interim assessment tomorrow.